man is walking down the beach after a tide left thousands of starfish stranded on the shore. He sees a young boy picking up starfish one by one, throwing them back into the ocean. And while touched by the boy's efforts, he cautioned him, "Son, there are thousands of starfish on this beach. You can't possibly save them all. It won't matter." In response, the boy picks up a starfish, throws it into the ocean, and says, "I think it mattered to that one." My dad told me that allegory when I was 8 years old, and as you could tell, it stuck with me. I grew up differently than other people. Not just because my dad is a famous actor who would get recognized pretty much every time we walked outside the house. Growing up in LA, that isn't very unique. But what made my childhood unique was not who we were, but how we lived. We made our own power, grew our own food, drove an electric car long before Teslas were commercially available. We took public transportation whenever we could, collected our own rainwater, and brought our own bags and containers to the grocery store. All because my dad, many years before I was born, saw the smog in Los Angeles, the plastic littering our beaches, and the evidence of human-made climate change, and said to himself, "I'm going to do my part to be part of the change for this. I'm going to do my part to be the solution." And it wasn't always easy. He was admired by most, criticized by some, and overall incredibly inconvenienced. Personal responsibility, two words that have been strategically weaponized against the consumer since the dawn of the plastic pollution crisis. From faulty recycling programs to commercials claiming that our littering is what caused the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Megacorporations have been successfully shifting the blame onto the individual for decades. They prop up shallow environmental efforts while lobbying against legislation that would make them take responsibility for their waste. The system is unfair, the game is rigged, 100%. And the unfortunate part is that we must take personal responsibility to change it. Don't get me wrong, straw bans, super helpful. New recycling technologies, incredibly vital. But as we work tirelessly to find a catch-all solution to these issues, that one plastic cup, takeout container, plastic bag, it adds up fast. We as Americans generate an average of 290 pounds of plastic waste per year. Very small fraction of which ever gets recycled. Now, anybody who knows their plastic facts might say to me, "Well, Hayden, 290 pounds, that's nothing compared to the 450 million metric tons of plastic waste generated from industrial manufacturing every single year." And to that I would say, yeah, it's really cool that you know that. And who are they making that plastic for? Even if we never hold the fishing nets or packing peanuts in our hands that they generate, we have incentivized its creation with our dollar. A wise woman once said to me, "We vote every 2 years at the ballot box, but we vote every single day with our wallet." When I buy a single-use plastic item, I am voting for more single-use plastic to be created. And as someone who is deeply concerned about the plastic pollution crisis, not only for my ocean's health, but for my own health, that is incredibly hypocritical. And my father didn't raise me to be a hypocrite. So I decided to spend this week leading up to this talk using no plastic whatsoever. And of course, I still use some plastic, and it's here with me on stage today. I tried my absolute hardest, and I studied and I looked for alternatives at reusable grocery stores and farmers markets. I brought my own containers. I called up delis and bakeries ahead of time to see if they would accept it, and they were a little like, "Okay, yeah, sure," but they did. And still, I generated this much plastic in a week. This is not nothing, but it's a start. And it's a start that my father taught me to take. Many of you will go on to use some form of single-use plastic later on today, just statistically. And you might think to yourself, it is just one cup, one takeout container, one plastic bag. And I say the same thing to myself. I cannot judge. But when you do, I implore you to use my tactic for plastic aversion, which is to look at images like this. That is also just one plastic bag. But what if that one was mine? The little boy on the beach didn't need every single American to help him throw the starfish back into the sea. Just a few like-minded individuals who are ready and able to take on the inconvenient choice. Thank you.